As many of you know, we celebrate Charlie's life and all of you each December with this dinner. It is really great to see everybody here tonight, and I have to say that I truly enjoyed attending this event. You see, this is a special night for us at Gosnell, as we get to spend it with the families we support and so admire. You are all here, you are all true heroes, and we at Gosnell are here for you. It is you that have been there to support your loved ones through these difficult times, and now it is our honor to celebrate and support all of you. You and your loved ones have traveled the path of recovery together, you supporting and cheering them on as they navigate all the challenges associated with lasting recovery. It is all of you that have become experts on this disease, and it is all of you that have chosen to be their supporter, as listener, and as friend to others facing similar challenges. You celebrate their successes, and you feel their pain. This path is not an easy one, and one that requires much love, support, and patience. As the CEO, I know the work we do at Gosnell is important, but we know that is time limited. Eventually, your loved ones leave our inpatient treatment facilities and graduate from our outpatient programs. They outgrow the need for daily support from us and move on to find their place in the world. I cannot tell you how incredibly moving it is for us to see this graduation. It is why we do what we do every single day. But Gosnell was only part of this process, and their successes would not be possible without all of you and your support. And this evening would not be possible without Susan Jocelyn and the Charlie Wilkerson Memorial Fund. When Susan faced the unimaginable horror of losing her son Charlie in 2009, when he was just 25, she wanted to help families affected by addiction. As a result, the Charlie Wilkerson Memorial Fund was developed to bring supports to families in need. It was decided that Gosnell would serve as the steward for this fund. Without Susan and her dedication to helping those families struggling with addiction, this evening would not be possible. I never met Charlie. He lost his battle with addiction long before I joined Gosnell. But even though I did not know him personally, I feel like I have. I learned who he was through the eyes of his mother. Susan herself is typically here with us, but unfortunately, as some of you may know, Susan recently lost her battle with cancer. Susan was a very special woman and dedicated her life to helping others struggle with addiction after she lost Charlie. One of her last wishes was that even though she would not be here with us, that this dinner continue each year. And of course it will. But this dinner will no longer be a celebration of Charlie, but one for both Charlie and Susan. Because as we know, the challenge of overcoming addiction can be as hard for the family as it is for the person seeking recovery. So thanks to Susan for all she has done over the years to support families in need. And thank you all for coming tonight and supporting each other. I hope you have a wonderful, enjoyable holiday season. We do have a few words from Susan, so please enjoy this video.
So I want to welcome everyone to the Charlie dinner, as we call it. It's been going on for many a year. After my son Charlie died of a heroin overdose in 2009, it is now, the family got together and decided we wanted to create some sort of a memorial fund. We had been really, the whole family had been helped by Gosnold, and we'd done their family outreach programs, and Charlie of course had been in treatment, and we really wanted to figure out a way to mostly help families, because back then there really wasn't a whole lot of education and support and outreach for families, and the ripple effect is so huge. So we created and raised money for the Charlie Wilkerson Endowed Memorial Fund, and came up with the idea of doing this dinner for families as a way to get everyone together at the holidays and hopefully relax and enjoy and be able to share stories and hopefully get a little inspiration for the season and for just continuing on. And I just really feel doubly sorry for people now, because it's really only gotten so much more challenging for everyone since then, and it was so challenging then, it's hard for me to even imagine how tough it is for people suffering the substance use disorder and their families. I think my premier piece of advice to anyone trying to help out someone that they love is just to maintain the relationship. That was really always my mantra through the whole thing, because we know our loved one, certainly if it's your child, so well, and you know who that person is inside. And at times it really feels like there's an alien takeover, and it's very difficult, but as long as you're really, focused on the person, and it just is a heart-to-heart thing, you just have to maintain. And so that person knows that you know who they are, regardless of what's going on, and some of the things they may have done or said, or you as I may have done or said, that you just want to, carry on the love. So our family's just really thrilled to be able to offer, this little something to take everyone's minds off of things. And that's why we did it, and that's why we're welcoming people again today to enjoy.
Not only doing for your loved ones, but also the most important thing is you're working on yourselves. And that's all we can do, because that's what we ask our loved ones to do as well. And some of our speakers in here right now, they've learned how to live rather than just exist. And they're success stories. And they emphasize the fact that recovery is a journey, not a destination. And we all continue to move forward, same for you all. It's not that it doesn't end, it's a journey that we keep traveling on and keep traveling on and keep giving back. And that's what we're doing here today. We thank the Jostens for this opportunity. The first speaker we have is Trevor McCarthy. Trevor is a recipient of the Martin Walsh Achievement Award. I got to see a video of his family and him at the 50th anniversary gala, and then tonight, watching this young man right here from where he probably was before, because I can envision it, to see this vibrant man right now that works in this field that is just full of energy and life. So, Trevor, come on up.
If you had told me 5 years ago, even 2.5 years ago, that this is where I'd be right now, I laughed in your face. 2.5 years ago, on May 2nd, 2020, I checked into my 13th inpatient admission for alcohol, and I was pretty broken. At that point, I'd reserved myself to the fact that I was once again going to die from the disease of addiction. I had no hope. I didn't think it was gonna be all right. My father drove me down just like he did the 12 previous times, and he had hope, but I just didn't. And when I entered Gosnold, I saw a nurse that I'd seen 12 previous times, and that was the first. Like my father always says, when you walk up to the front doors of Gosnold and you're on a first name basis with the nursing staff, it's like a little bit of a problem. But Chris greeted me, and I felt right at home, and that's where the journey began. I spent the next 35 days or so in treatment, and over that period of time, I kind of found a little bit of hope. My mindset just got to a place where I thought I could do this again. Before that, my family, when my father had seen my mother, the person that I became wasn't me anymore. I didn't recognize who I saw in the mirror. My siblings were afraid of me. My life revolved around using. I ended up in handcuffs. I was arrested, in treatment. If I wasn't in a treatment center, then I was in the hospital with pancreatitis. My poor parents, I got admitted to a hospital in a foreign country for my alcohol use. You know what I mean? It got pretty bad. And now my life is so far removed from that. I used to work in sales, and I decided a long time ago that this wasn't going to be the field for me, but I stuck it out a little bit. And ultimately I made the decision of working the treatment field. Every single day I work with addicts in a detox unit. And I can speak to them not from a level of, I went to college and learned this out of a book, but that I know exactly what it feels like to sit right there. To make that step, that leap to get into treatment, it's incredibly difficult. But what happens in recovery in this journey is so beautiful. I work this every single day. I do not forget that if I take a sip of alcohol, my life is going to quickly spiral. If it wasn't for the people that Gosnold introduced me to, if it wasn't for the people that my fellowship introduced me to, people like Mike, people like Pete, people like Alex, like, if it wasn't for my people that I lean on, I wouldn't be here. So I want to let you guys know that, you know, recovery is possible. It doesn't happen the first time. If you know somebody who's struggling, which I'm sure all of us do, right? It can take 13 times. It can take 19 times, right? Some of us aren't as lucky enough to get on the first time, but for me, I just never quit. And that's why I'm here today. So, you know, I hope that I can be a little bit of a vision of hope, that we can get this, that families do recover, that people do recover, and I'm really blessed to be here tonight. Thank you.
I had the privilege and honor of working with as a recovery coach. She went through the continuum of care at Gosnold, from detox, atomic, recovery coaching, our one-on-one services, PHP, whole 9 yards. One of the things that I remember most was the first time we met, we went to a meeting. We went to a Dunkin' Donuts, which I used for an office all over town. And we sat there and we had a cup of coffee. I looked across the table at her and she said to me, "I'm done. And I'm going to do all the things that I never did before." And that's why we're here today. She just celebrated a year about 2 weeks ago. And we are just so proud of her.
So Danae called me and asked me to speak tonight. If she would have asked me to run the road race with her, it would have been a hard no. But thank goodness she asked me to speak at this wonderful event with you people. So my disease was really in hibernation for quite some time. I really didn't have a connection with my alcoholism until I was 38, when I started when I ended up going to Gosnold for the first offender driver's education program. And I didn't realize till 2 years after I participated in that program that I had an issue. And I walked into G1 very broken, at the bottom, and just said, "Help me, please, somebody has to do something. I have a wonderful family, they all care about me. I just can't stop drinking." And the people there had faith in me when I didn't have faith in myself. They gave me strength when I had none. I ended up leaving the detox and moving on to Emerson. At that time it was an all-women's facility. I learned a great deal about my disease and also how to help myself. I was involved in some equine therapy. I was involved in yoga, art therapy. In fact, 10 years ago, almost to the day, I had dinner here with Ray Tomasi, and he took 2 girls from Emerson and 2 boys from Miller House and brought us to see the Boston Pops and had some music therapy. I graduated from Emerson after being there for 90 days. And was ready to start my life. I married my husband, got a corporate job, and was very happy. What was missing was I wasn't treating my alcoholism. I was just sober. I just was not drinking. I wasn't connecting. I wasn't going to meetings. I didn't have any counseling afterwards. So it was a matter of time, and about 7 years later, life happened. I had a couple of deaths in the family, and it went to my go-to. And I started drinking again, basically picked up right where I left off, and struggled for about 2 years in and out of detox, in and out of programs. I went to a bougie resort in South Florida with celebrities and professional athletes. Came back, didn't work, drank. Went to a couple of other places in the area, came out, still drank. So what am I doing? I need to go back to Gosnold. That's what got me sober last time, and it worked. So I came back to Gosnell in the detox, again broken, again with the faces of the employees, with the faith, with the strength, with everything that I was looking for that I didn't have. They carried me and lifted me up. I left the program there and went to Kachamet for further treatment. That's where I met Mike. I got out of Kachamet and I said, I have to follow the suggestions. I have to go through the process. I can't do it on my own. And I got a sober coach. I started one-on-one counseling. I got connected in the community, in my AA community. I joined a group. I just, like Mike said, I was recovery to the hilt. And I still am. Because now I left that corporate job and I work at Gosnell as a patient access specialist. So I'm the first person people call when they're looking for help. And I feel like it's a calling to me. I get rewarded every day helping somebody get into treatment. Talking to a parent or a sister or a partner about the disease of addiction, and that we can help these people. There's not a last resort. We're not the last resort. There's continuing care. There's everything that goes on. We like from the navigators, like Melissa and Michael, and we have community navigators in the hospitals, in the local hospitals. They send us referrals into admissions, and we call it, we're going to reach out to the patient. And I honestly feel, folks, that I'm reaching out to the patient with the hand of recovery and inviting them to come live a better life and learn how they can be so happy in recovery, and it's not the end of all end. And I get rewarded every day for that. I love my job. I wouldn't change it for the world. And it ranges from anybody from moms to corporate VIPs to people on Mass Avenue to construction workers. Everybody's affected and everybody needs help, and I'm so glad, Richard, that we have this company to offer people, and I love working at Gosnell. Thanks, everyone.
It was probably the perfect storm for Gosnell. My name is on the outreach line for Gosnell, so when people are struggling or they're looking for help or interventions, usually I get the call. I take a lot of calls during the course of a week, a month, whatever. Mike's family reached out to me on that outreach line, and it was brand new to them, and we were walking them through that, and Mike was hard to find sometimes, but the last time we found him, he was walking down the street. His dad was in the car with Chelsea, who was an intake patient access specialist, and trying to get Mike to do an intake on the phone. And we finally got Mike to do the intake, and Mike came to us, and there was a lot of moving parts. We got to tell Mom not to pick up the phone every time he called, because that gave him a chance to whine and cry and say, I want to come home. And the toughest thing for them was to let go. And I said, he'll come around. Mike ended up going through the detox program. Usually, there's a gentleman, Mike Clancy, who owns some sober houses for us. We still work with Mike in a lot of ways. He has a PHP program. And Mike doesn't take anybody unless they have 30 days of treatment. And there was something about Mike that just really, we could see it. So I went to Mike and I advocated for Mike to get a bed in one of his houses. And Mike took him on. And then the growth just started, and it was amazing to watch. And today, he's working in the field as well. I can't even tell you how this one really warms my heart. So, Mike, come on up.
Mike. All right, so yeah, my name is Mike. I'm an addict.
Hi, Mike.
So yeah, I was not a fun person to be around when I was getting high. I knew that I needed to go to treatment, but I didn't have the strength to do it myself. My parents knew like my potential and what I can bring to this world, and I had lost that a long time ago. I remember before I went to Gosnold, I hadn't gotten more than 10 days without a substance in the last 10 years. And I had really lost, I didn't know who I was anymore. It was me, the drugs, and if that wasn't, if it wasn't, whoever else it was, right? I don't care if you're my family, my mom, dad, best friend growing up. I'm taking from you, I'm taking advantage of you. Right, my mom used to have to sleep with her purse in her bedroom. And even then I feel like it wasn't safe. And so yeah, I don't know, there was like a couple events that kind of led up to this, like you need to, like you're going to treatment type of deal. And I don't know if I said, it's a fog, right? But I remember walking down the street as my dad's on the phone with who knows who it was, like trying to get away, trying to run away. I wanted my family to forget who I was, just leave me alone, right? That was like my last like strategy to be happy, is if they just left me alone and I stopped hurting them. And they never, thank God, they never gave up on me. Thank God Mike Diaz somehow got involved, because I'm the drug addict, I'm the addict in the family, but it affects everyone, and it takes a village to get me clean, to get me sober. And my parents had no idea what they were doing or who they were dealing with. My family isn't, addicts and alcoholics aren't really in my family. I was like the black sheep and they knew nothing, and it was super easy to manipulate them, to get them to do what I want to, right? Like even the few times I've gone to treatment before, this place is horrible, Mom, I need your food, like I'm not even eating here, like if I come home, I promise I'll take drug tests, I'll do this, I'll do that. And it was just easy to get my way, unfortunately. So I went to treatment, my dad dropped me off, and I remember I sat down, and I think you were there, and the first thing that Mike said to me was, you could say, it's like, buddy, you look rough. Like we're gonna help you here. And the first 4 or 5 days it was going all right, but for me it got to a point where I was like mentally and physically exhausted, and that like drive that I had to get clean and live a better life turned into like, please let me come home. I swear once again I'll never do it again. And thank God, right, Mike is there to tell my parents no, to hang up the phone, to once again coach them how to deal with me. I was a mess. I was would manipulate you to, like it's like dark outside, I'll tell you that it's sunny out and you'll believe me back then. And they hung up the phone. They didn't answer when I called back. They did their homework, they did their due diligence out there, and I stayed that night, and I woke up the next day and I felt like a new man. I was kind of slowly getting ready to do whatever anyone asked me to. And then once again, like somebody advocated for me, like I know, right? And I got into, when you're getting clean, when you're staying sober, just like things work out, right? It goes, like everything that's supposed to happen happens at the right time. Might not be when I want it or whatever, but I landed in the perfect spot for me around me, right? Around people like me that were clean finally and living these beautiful lives, and Keith was there, and I got to see like what life could offer. I started to like believe in myself again. And I mean, while I was at Gosnold, I remember looking around and really wanting to it like planted the seed for me to work in treatment. It felt like it felt like that's where I belong. And so a couple months later, I started working at a detox. I moved to a PHP, and I just, it's crazy how fast things happen when, like, I have so much potential, there's so much that can come out of me, but when you put a substance, like he said, one drink and it's all over. It doesn't matter anymore, and it's like, it usually takes like year anniversaries or something like this for me to reflect on like how far I've come. But it's like so I have 2 years and a little over 2 months, and if you told me 2 years ago that this is where I would be, I wouldn't believe you. I just moved to Ohio to open a new an outpatient center. Flying back to come do this, it just doesn't make sense, right? It just doesn't. I'm not supposed to be here, right? I'm not supposed to be here, and if it was up to me, I wouldn't. But God's not like Diaz, like. Once again, seeing Keith at that house, and it's just, and I don't know, I just don't know. Last thing that I'm gonna say is the family support made my parents, especially my mom, know that she is not alone, that I am not the only person that gets high and steals from their parents and runs away and runs down the street and like leaves treatment and wants to come home, and they're not the only ones dealing with this, and it taught them, once again, how to deal with me. And no, this is the last thing I'm gonna say. Sorry, I was thinking about, so when we were watching the video, was her name Susan? Was that what it was? So Susan, one of her goals for having this dinner was to bring together families and like-minded people and people that are going through the same thing. And it's like I live in Columbus, Ohio. My parents live in Boylston. My aunt and uncle live in Worcester. My sister and her fiance live in West Roxbury. Like we didn't get to get together for Thanksgiving because I'm all the way out there, and like thank God for this dinner because I get to spend the day with my family.
I apologize that I'm going to be reading from this because otherwise I don't think I'll be able to get through this. I'm the mother of Michael, who's a recovering addict, 2 years and 2 months. I've been stressing over this night for a few months now because I really don't feel comfortable talking in front of a group, but I'm here for 2 reasons. The first is, for some reason, I feel the need to be here. Maybe it has something to do with my own recovery. And the second is to talk about and give hope, because without hope, we have nothing. First, I'd like to thank Charlie's family for sponsoring this event. I read Charlie's bio because I wanted to learn more about him and get to know him. And after I read it, I said to myself, this sounds like Michael, and probably not unlike many others. As a child, Michael was always happy, laughing, having fun. He was very social and had a lot of friends. He kind of was like a magnet. As he got older, I saw leadership qualities in him. He liked being a boss, telling people what to do, and they listened to him. But that changed little by little. Slowly, the disease of addiction took control. The disease changed my son into a habitual liar and a thief. He became a homebody, spent a lot of time in his room. He now had new friends, couldn't keep a job, we didn't trust him. I won't belabor this point because I think most of us in this room know. As the disease was destroying my son, it was starting to destroy me. Much in the same manner. Slowly, little by little, I became anxious and fearful. I didn't sleep, waiting for him to come home, texting him at all hours, both day and night. The disease brought myself and my family down unimaginable roads. I did things and sought things I never thought I would. We were living in a nightmare. Again, I won't belabor this point, as you probably already know. A few months before Michael came to treatment at Gosnell, I saw a change in myself, and I didn't like what I saw. I was afraid to be alone, and I've never felt like that. I was always able to handle things, but not anymore. I needed the physical strength of my husband and daughter to be with me. I then realized I couldn't do it anymore. I was afraid for my mental well-being, as well as my own safety and the safety of my family. I had to make a choice, and I chose myself, accepting the fact that my son might die. Then came hope. October 6, 2020, the day Michael came to treatment at Gosnell. A few months before that, Michael was spiraling out of control. He was a mess. We had heard about Gosnell at the Cape, and it had a great reputation, but not easy to get into. My husband called and told the woman what was going on. And she said to him, "You know who you need to talk to is my dad." And boy, was she right. I'll be referring to him as Mike D, because there are a lot of Mikes around here. The way we got him down here was a little unorthodox, had to make a stop on the way, but nevertheless, my husband got him into Gosnell. A sigh of relief, he could breathe again. He was in detox for almost 1 week. It was up and down. We were in touch with Mike D and Mike's team. Then came that fateful Sunday night. Michael had had enough and wanted to leave. If we didn't pick him up, he was going to figure out a way. Again, we had numerous conversations with Mike D. He would say, "Okay, the son is going to say this, and this is what I want you to say back." And I literally would write it down because I knew I would forget. I knew as soon as I started talking to Michael, my mind would go blank. Thanks to the support and coaching from Mike D, we did not pick Michael out. I knew that was the right decision, but my heart was breaking. We were so afraid. Would he be out on the street doing who knows what? Or would he show up at our doorstep in the middle of the night, 2 hours away? Now what? Well, fortunately, that was not the case. Mike D called us at 10 p.m. on Sunday night, and I'll never forget it. He called to let us know that Michael was still there at Gosnell and that he was going to talk to him Monday morning. He said, and I quote, "He ain't going nowhere." I'd go talk to him now, but I don't think he's in the right frame of mind, so I'll go see him in the morning. And he did. That meant so much to us. We could sleep that night knowing Michael was safe and we could deal with things in the morning. This was the turning point. By Monday morning, things were different. Michael was staying, and it just kept getting better and better. I can't tell this story without talking about Mike Diaz. He saved our son's life. He was pivotal in the whole process, from getting him into detox, getting us through that fateful Sunday night, to the next steps in Michael's recovery, to recommending a good sober house, and of course the family support groups through Gosnell. And that's the difference with our experience at Gosnell. They truly cared and involved us, the family. They not only treated Michael, but helped and supported us along the way. And that apparently is the way to go. Michael had been to a few other treatment centers, but went right back to his other lifestyle. We were not included. As Michael's life was heading in the right direction, so was mine. I started to attend family support group meetings virtually through Gosnell. There, I was able to listen to others and learn. I became stronger attending these support groups, and I think Michael picked up on that. I no longer was the weak link. I could actually say no to him. This was something different for all of us. I learned I could still love Michael without being responsible for him or his actions. There were some bumps in the road at first, but these bumps are now less frequent. It's been 2 years, 2 months, and I still call Mike D when I'm struggling with something. He's always right there for me, and I'm so thankful. Mike D and Gosnell never gave up on Michael or us. They were committed then and now. It's not a 9-to-5 job. The day's over and go home. Mike D was with us 24/7. I have so much to be thankful for. I'm proudly standing here with my son, who is over 2 years sober. He has now dedicated his life to helping others with addiction and knows how important family involvement is. I truly believe that if it weren't through the grace of God bringing us to Gosnell and Mike Diaz, we wouldn't be standing here now. We are one of the lucky ones. The disease of addiction is all-encompassing, and treatment is multifactorial. It's not just about detox, but about lifelong sober living, family support and involvement, coaching, and learning a new way to live. Gosnell has it all covered. Even after 2 years, I still have my moments of doubt and mistrust, but that's where I need to work on my own recovery. As they say, one day at a time, and today is a great day. Again, I want to thank Charlie's family for supporting this dinner. I want to thank Gosnell and Mike Diaz for their dedication and commitment in treating and fighting addiction. You make a difference. We are living proof. I also want to acknowledge my husband, Michael, yet another Mike, for his love and commitment to his family, along with my daughter, Julie and Jason, our family and extended family. Thank you for being here. So in closing, there is hope, because without hope, we have nothing.